I'd like to call to order the Subcommittee of Legal Affairs. In attendance this evening are Councilor Turco, Councilor Higgins, Councilor Melville, and sitting in for Councilor Peach, Councilor McGinn. We have two items on the agenda. The first one is the adoption of MGL Chapter 90, Section 14C, an act concerning the safety of school children embarking and disembarking on school buses. I'll now turn it over to Mayor Betancourt.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening to you. Good evening, councilors. Hope everybody's doing well. I am very happy and proud to be here today to bring forth this resolution for hopeful adoption on something that the City of Peabody has played a critical role in. Earlier this year, 2025 in January, the governor signed a resolution, Chapter 90C, Section 14C, authorizing the use of school bus cameras on the stop arms. Just to go back a little bit, this is certainly something I can talk in great detail about, but I wanted to give a little bit of the history. But before I do, I did want to mention we have today with me Maria Sherry, who's really been the architect behind this whole initiative that we're going to speak to. She's been the guiding force on all of this and has really done an amazing job for this effort and for the City of Peabody. Also, John Swanson, who's played a critical role in the task force in helping along the way through the numerous steps that we've taken. School committee member Jared Hockman is also here as well. The school committee has been a great support system for this program, which I'll speak to in a moment. Also, we have from our police department, Chief Tom Griffin and Captain Scott Richards here as well, who has played a role in this whole initiative. So just to take a step back, you may recall, I think this is all something that's very familiar to all of you, so I'm not going to get into all of the details. Happy to if there's any questions, but just to give some perspective and some of what history that has brought us here today. In late 2022, there were a number of concerning incidents that really could have been disastrous for our community, disastrous for families. There were a number of near misses of pedestrians, students walking to school, crossing their bikes in crosswalks that really set an alarm bells off across the city. And Maria Sherry brought this forward, looking to see if there's something we as a community can do to tackle this problem and to really take a hard look at solutions and what we could do to make this situation better for all of us. And we, at the time, did not have an ordinance as a city. We did not have an ordinance as a state to authorize the use of stop arm cameras on buses to monitor and video incidents of dangerous passing, of reckless driving, things like that. And we wanted to try to be proactive in this effort to come up with some way for it to work. And through Maria's research, she learned of a company called Bus Patrol, who is a national company that installs stop arms on cameras, cameras on stop arms that come off of the bus that video incidents of, again, reckless behavior, reckless driving. We were one of 26 states, Massachusetts, that did not have a state ordinance. 24 other states did, and they've been growing over time. A lot of states that are abutters of us, or neighbors of ours that have this type of initiative to authorize police officers to enforce the law, put tickets out there to those that are driving recklessly and for enforcement we felt necessary. The state, Massachusetts, has had in one form or another a number of proposed ordinances since 2011, but they've never really moved out of committee. There was always talk about there wasn't data, there wasn't information, they didn't have enough in order to move forward, bring it out of committee for a vote. So anyway, what we did is we partnered with Bus Patrol, the City of Peabody, the very first city or town in the state of Massachusetts to move forward with this plan to install cameras on these school buses, on those stop arms, in order to gather data. So for the school year 2023 into 2024, we installed cameras on 10 of our city buses. We worked with Healy Bus, who was a great partner with us. We identified 10 areas of concern in the city, and we put those cameras on those 10 buses. and really just data collection, just to monitor what was taking place, gather evidence so that we could submit it potentially to our state legislators and to those decision makers. The evidence and what came from that 10-month study was truly alarming. We had over 3,500 incidents of reckless driving, of people just not adhering to the stop arm, driving around school buses as kids and families were negotiating some intersections in those areas in front of schools. And that was just in 10 buses across the city. There were still a number of buses. We didn't have that information. So that gives you a kind of a sense of what type of problem this was. It was really reaching epidemic proportions as to the dangers that were being created. So we gathered all that information, submitted it to the state, submitted to our state legislative team, Senator Joan Lovely, State Representatives Tom Walsh and Sally Currens, reached out to a number of other state leaders and officials to really advocate and push to have a state law that allowed for enforcement and implementation of ticketing and things of that nature to really try to make an impact and really try to curb and correct this dangerous and reckless behavior. Maria Sherry herself went to a number of state meetings, met with state legislators, spoke at hearings, and really made a strong impact on bringing this together. And through her work, through the work of the city of Peabody and others, we were able to get the state legislature to bring this out of committee with a positive vote from the State House and from the Senate, and then the governor signing the bill in early January of this past year, 2025, or this current year, 2025. Right now, so we do have a state law, again, is Chapter 90, Section 14C, an act concerning the safety of school children embarking and disembarking school buses. Now, what that state law mentioned was that cities and towns then would have an option to bring that forward for a city council and school committee vote in order to implement that. They left it up to cities and towns. The law is there. It's just moving forward with cities that want to do it. I can tell you there are a number of cities and towns that are moving forward on this. I had hoped that Peabody would be the first. I think Springfield beat us, but there are a number of other cities and towns that are in the process. So we wanted to bring this forward, hopefully to be the second community for this to happen. And again, what this would do is authorize police officers to take that evidence, to take the video, and then ticket off of that video. The real effort here, certainly, there would be some tickets generated, some money generated, but the real hope and intent of this law and our actions was to really just cure and curb some reckless driving and some really dangerous behavior. And that's been the emphasis behind this all along. And again, something I'm very proud of as a city, that we were the lead community on this. This would not have happened without the city of Peabody, our efforts with Healy Bus, our school administration, the school committee, and Maria Sherry in particular. We did create a task force at the onset of this to look at advocacy efforts, to look at ways that we can bring programs to our city, into our schools. That work is continuing. It's a I'm not even going to say that word. It's a group of city leaders from our police department, our health department, our school department. It's chaired by Maria. It's assistance from John Swanson, some other elected officials. Some of you have attended some of the meetings in the past and lended your support and lended your efforts behind it. And I do really think this is a Peabody effort that, again, I'm very proud of. The school committee in February approved the use of these cameras on school buses. There had to be a vote from the school committee for that. But you as city councilors determine whether or not that we want to move forward with the enforcement and implementation of this effort. Happy to answer any further questions, getting more of the details on it. But I do have Maria Sherry here, and I wanted to ask Mr. Chairman if it would be okay for her to come up and say a few words.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Maria?
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Maria Sherry, and as the mayor said, I started to raise awareness for illegal school bus passing when I was at my school bus stop with my son Nick over there, and it was the first week of school. He's in 8th grade now, so he was starting 6th grade, and all of a sudden a car came flying from behind the school bus into the opposing lane and just flew right past the bus as the kids were getting on and off. And you can imagine the horror when you see something like that. I thought maybe it was a one-time thing because, you know, who does that, right? Everybody knows you have to stop for the school bus. Well, it just kept happening over and over and over again. My first call was to John because I sent him an email and said, what's happening here? What can we do? And from there, it was about 2.5 years of advocacy with the help of Mayor Betancourt and John with the School Safety Task Force, and just getting out there and raising awareness and talking to other safety advocates. The data that we were able to show, along with the video footage. I think we were in the news like 33 times between the local newspaper and TV news showing that footage, and that really just ignited this push from all different kinds of people. I mean, we had the backing from the CEO of AAA Northeast saw the footage and made it a mandate for their organization to get behind school bus safety because he was so horrified at what he saw. So I'm sure many of you have kids, grandkids, neighborhood kids, kids, and any of those kids that are getting, on and off their school bus, when you see a car go right past, I mean, your heart just drops. So we did a lot of work. We got a lot of support. We were a leader in this, and I'm really hoping that to get your support tonight to get this done. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll now open it up to the council. Councilor Turco.
Yeah, I just briefly want to say, when Maria reached out to me, I think it was in 2022, about the issue, in truth, she told me she wanted to move with legislation on this, and she was asking for avenues and advice on how to do so. And I didn't believe, I wasn't confident that this was something that was going to get done. And not only did it get done, but I got done in 3 years, which is absolutely amazing in the legislative world. And as Captain Richards just mentioned to me prior to the meeting, there are thousands of pieces of legislation, submitted every year, and only, several hundred at most passed. So for a resident to take this in a 3-year period as far as she did, it's a testament to her, as well as the mayor, the school committee, and everybody involved at how quickly this got passed. So I'm proud to support it. And if there's no questions from councils, I'd make the motion.
Councilor Gould.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Maria, very, very much. Don't ever let it be said you can't get anything done. Nice job. Thank you on behalf of everyone here.
Councilor Melville.
Thank you, and I just echo, Councilor Turco kind of stole some of which was, it's really remarkable how quickly this kind of got through the legislature. This is not a typical scenario on the timeline, so really it's a tribute to you. And I just, totally from my perspective, the last couple of years, when I first heard about it, you would driving down, my commute to work down Linfield Street, you would see people, there's a couple of different bus stops along that route, and you would see people either go in the median lane to get around thinking there's no kids coming or anything. That is not happening now. So I actually think, as much as getting the legislation through is fantastic, your communication strategy was really good because it penetrated to the general public, and I think you deserve a lot of credit for that. And everybody involved, legislative delegation, mayor's office, school committee, city council, everybody that helped out, really great job. I think this is going to have a positive impact. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Higgins.
Thank you, Chairman. Through you to, I see Captain Richards in the audience. I was just curious as to if he could give us an idea of how many citations have been given out over the last few years for this kind of violation.
How many citations have been given out? In order for us to give out a citation for this violation, the police officers have to be present. So it's very difficult for us to be with all the buses all the time. So we have issued citations for this. Not near enough, and that's why we were advocating for this legislation, because this now gives us another tool to be able to cite people for the violations and not have to have a police officer behind the bus in order to do that. So this is why it's very important that this got passed for us. Gives us another tool to do the job.
Thank you, and I just wanted to echo some of the statements already made, but, or at least I agree with all of them. I'm a strong advocate for the use of technology in this instance. As you just heard from Captain Richards, it's not possible for the police department to follow every bus, and we hear about these violations through family members and neighbors, and it's egregious. It's dangerous. It's amazing that we haven't had thank goodness, no serious incidents that I know of recently, but, you know, we're on the edge of it, so I'm proud to support the use of this technology in this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, you wanted to say something?
Just a couple of things to add. I wanted to make sure I mentioned before a vote was taken, and I'm sorry if this was going to be a question that may have been asked. But in terms of next steps, what would end up happening is if there is a positive vote tonight, we would then contract with a company in order to install the cameras on our school bus fleet. And there are a number of companies that offer those services, Bus Patrol being one of those. That certainly we have spoken with, and we'll be looking at certainly looking to maybe partner with them. Our relationship has been very strong together. There are a number of states that, as I mentioned, have resolutions and legislation similar to this. The resolution you have in front of you today is lengthy, certainly, but it was taken from other states that have this on the books. We work with Bus Patrol actually with this language. The resolution to establish a school bus violation detection monitoring system program for illegally passing a school bus. And again, it is pretty lengthy, but there was a lot to include in there. There would not be money that would go to the third-party contractor that we eventually contract with. There would be payment through tickets and things of that nature. So that would be worked out in terms of the contract, in terms of a percentage that would go to Bus Patrol. So it's not an outlay that we do as a community. So that would be something that we have to work on and look at what other states have done, other cities that have this program. And then we would anticipate that any funds generated from ticketing and things of that nature would go right back into, there would be some administrative costs, certainly, but primarily we'd be looking to help with crossing guards and signage and school safety programs and crosswalks and things of that nature. That's what we anticipate money derived from this program would go towards. And I just wanted to mention that before we went any further. I anticipate that we'll talk to a couple of different companies at least and kind of see what type of partnerships we could enter into. But certainly the first one we'd want to talk to is Bus Patrol themselves.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilor Manning Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of quick comments. One question for Captain Richards. I know oftentimes when we have new bills come in or new laws come in, we tend to ease into the enforcement of it, and I'm hoping that that's not the case here and that we would be aggressive in enforcing this and, you know, not give warnings. That's my hope. I was wondering what your intention is.
Well, my position is we're already creating a policy to be able to implement this once this is all passed, and it's going to be a zero tolerance policy as far as I'm concerned, and the tickets will be mailed out. Warnings don't work all the time, so the citations, which are a pretty hefty fine, once they start getting issued and sent out there, I think it's going to send a message to the public that this is not going to be tolerated here.
Thank you, Captain. And lastly, just to Maria, in all seriousness, I think you should write a booklet on how to get a bill passed. I think I'm absolutely 100% serious, because if you were to give, you know, just walk people through what you did, when you did it, you know, and everything involved, in a booklet form, I think that it would be very, very helpful to people who have struggled for years to try and make a difference as sizable as you have. So in doing that, I really think you should put it all together and put it out there. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you. So as a matter of fact, Sharon Cameron and I, so Sharon, the health director, right? Mm-hmm. So she's on the task force, and we've been talking with the Massachusetts College of Health and Pharmacy, and we just agreed on some terms. They're going to have some grad students write a journal paper on how one community made a difference and how I went from yelling at cars drivers passing, the school bus to passing legislation. That's what I want to call it. But yeah, so thank you for that. We're definitely working on it.
That's great. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you so much.
Actually, Maria, I just wanted to say before I go to my other colleagues, I still remember sitting at the Brown School in the cafeteria and having one of the first public meetings on this, and the fact, as my counterparts have already stated, that you were able to get this accomplished in such a short period of time is miraculous, and I personally want to thank you for your hard work, because this has been impressive. You're very welcome. Councilor Welton.
Thank you, Councilor Rosenall, and thank you. I'm not on this committee, but thank you for the opportunity to speak. I just wanted to thank Maria as well. As you mentioned, and as I know my colleagues have mentioned already, you were very committed to making sure that you saw this through. You were always very professional and came with some suggestions for how we could move the needle. And even though it wasn't as quickly as we would have liked, everything from blacking out crosswalks to trying to provide new and different opportunities for us to address this, you were amazing throughout the process. And as somebody who has 5 little ones that are on the school buses and sharing your frustration for how people have not stopped, I really appreciate you being such an advocate, and we're all very fortunate to have you as a member of our community, so thank you very much.
Seeing no further questions, Councilor Turco.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Motion to support a resolution to establish a school bus violation detection monitoring system program for illegally passing a school bus. The intent, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts authorizes municipalities to use a school bus violation detection monitoring system to enforce traffic violations pursuant to Section 14 and 14C of Chapter 90 of the Massachusetts General Laws and impose monetary liability on vehicles that illegally pass a school bus. Whereas the prevalence of reckless and distracted driving threatens the health, welfare, and safety of pedestrians, including school children within the community. Whereas increasing safety for school children entering and exiting school buses is of paramount importance to public safety, whereas leveraging new technologies in a reasonable and equitable manner can support efforts to enhance traffic and pedestrian safety. Whereas the Commonwealth of Massachusetts authorizes municipalities to use a school bus violation detection monitoring system to enforce traffic violations pursuant to Sections 14 and 14C of Chapter 90 of the Massachusetts General Laws and impose monetary liability on vehicles that illegally pass a stopped school bus. Now, therefore, the City of Peabody hereby accept applicable sections of the Massachusetts General Law to establish a school bus violation detection monitoring system. So moved.
You heard the motion. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Councilors Turco,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
McGinn,
Yes.
Melville,
Yes.
Rossignol.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you very much. Second item on the agenda is purchase of city-owned land, 0 Calumet Street, map number 104-131. What I'm looking for in this motion is just to send this to the department heads.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
You heard the motion by Councilor Melville. Any discussion on the motion? Being none, roll call vote.
Councilors Turco,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
McGinn,
Yes.
Melville,
Yes.
Rossignol.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. You heard the motion. All in favor? Any opposed? It's a vote.